Good evening, glad that you are watching us on the county's television on the news tonight. Tonight, confusion and misinformation reigns at the Ministry of Health as unconfirmed reports said one person had died after taking the AstraZeneca vaccine, even as officers launch probe over the matter. 17 people killed in 2 separate road accidents in Malindi and Kisumu. 15 people died in the grisly clash involving 2 buses on Mombasa-Malindi Highway. Also tonight, the US government advises its citizens not to travel to Kenya due to COVID-19, crime, terrorism and kidnapping. And tonight we shall shine a spotlight on the rising cases of murder and suicide, especially among members of the disciplined forces. Tonight of all nights, Anne Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight we begin on a sad note, and 15 people have died in a fatal road accident along the Malindi-Mombasa highway. In Kisumu, 2 people have died this afternoon after a truck ferrying sugarcane fell from the Kachok flyover. Mike Kagwongo begins our broadcast tonight.
At least 17 people have died in 2 different accidents in Malindi and Kisumu. In the first incident, 15 people died after 2 buses collided head-on at Kwamkikuyu area along the Malindi-Mombasa highway. At least 14 others are nursing injuries following the crash. The accident involved Hussein bus from Mombasa to Garissa and a Sabaki shuttle minibus heading to Mombasa from Marereni.
Tumepoteza watu 15. Watu 14 on the spot hapa, na wa 15 aliaga wakati wa kufikisha hospitali huko. Kuna wengi ambao wamepelekwa hospitali mbalimbali, sehemu ya Malindi na sehemu ya Kilifi.
Kwa kuwa waangalifu, wawaje overspeeding. Sababu kama ingekuwa hiyo pasa ingekuwa na speed, unafikiria inge lose control ikuje konge hii minibus. Kwa hivyo watu wakuwa waangalifu.
Eyewitnesses says the bus heading to Garissa was overtaking and lost control, hitting the Sabaki shuttle.
Hata ukikuwa unatoka huku gari nyingine itoe kichwa, lazima wewe utaanguka upande ile. Kama mimi mwenyewe si mara ya kwanza ama mbili nimerushwa kando ya barabara. Ukienda hii barabara unaweza pata accident bila kutarajia usipokuwa makini. Juu hii barabara hata utaangukia wapi?
Kugari hata iwezi hepa ingine. Vile mnavyoona ni iko dipu. Sasa ile kitu tungeliomba tu, hawa watu wanashughulika na contract. Tafadhali wajaribu kuharakisha, wasitufanye hivi tunapoteza.
In Kisumu County, 2 people died on the spot, with 1 nursing serious injuries after a truck veered off the Kachok flyover at Nairobi Road in Kisumu. The truck fell on 2 saloon cars that were at the car wash, killing the 2 occupants.
Na magari zinanguka tu zikitoka juu. Trailer ya kuku imenguka, ya juice imenguka, ya miwa imeanguka.
Nikianza na ile ya kwanza, ule wa mtu wa pikipiki alianguka hapa kwa hii flyover. Hii flyover ni kidogo. Kama ukiangalia ukikompare na ile ya Kondele ni kubwa, lakini hii ni kidogo.
Residents have called on the Kenya National Highway Authority to consider expanding the flyover. The 2 bodies were taken to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital morgue. For TV 47 and Mike Kagwongo.
Tonight, controversy continues to surround the impact of adverse effects of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in the country, as the Pharmacy and Poisons Board announced the death of 1 person in Uasin Gishu County following the administration of the vaccine. And as Zainab Mohammed now reports, even though the statement was later retracted, there are more questions than answers when it comes to the matter, as the government reveals the deceased was an expectant woman.
Confusion has emerged over the effects of AstraZeneca vaccine following reports by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board over the death of one person in Uasin Gishu County. According to the Deputy Director, Pharmacy and Poisons Board, Professor Peter Ikamati, a woman is reported to have suffered a miscarriage hours after receiving the vaccine.
We're sorry to report that there is one fatal case. What happened is a miscarriage. We are yet to get the finer details, and this happened in Uasin Gishu. We are yet to get the finer details, and we shall be able to communicate with you once we get all the details.
However, the statement was later retracted, with the board now saying that the particular incident is not directly linked to the vaccine and that more investigations are being carried out to establish the real cause of the death.
No, those are suspected. No case has been confirmed as having been as linked to the vaccine. We are waiting for the vaccine safety advisory committee to tell us, yes, this case is either some are confirmed to be by the vaccine or not. So no case has been confirmed as yet being linked to the vaccine.
What is rather surprising, though, is how the COVID-19 vaccine was administered to a pregnant woman when the government fully emphasized at the beginning of the exercise that children and expectant women are not eligible for a COVID-19 jab.
By you getting the vaccine today, it does not take away the chances that you will suffer any other health events that would otherwise be going on in the absence if the vaccine were not to be there. For example, if you get the vaccine today and you get bitten by a mosquito in the evening and suffer fever and malaria the following day, let's be alive to the fact that and look out for other health events that may also be associated. Let's not directly just link it.
Close to 340,000 people in the country have received the COVID-19 vaccine so far, with about 279 cases of adverse effects being reported among the vaccinated, 7 of which were adverse effects that later escalated to the recorded controversial death. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Elsewhere, days after approving a new 255.9 billion shillings loan to Kenya, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has revealed the strict conditions it issued to the Kenyan government ahead of the phased disbursement of the multi-billion shillings loan. The caveat on the loan approval by the IMF will include a major overhaul of some 9 parastatals in the country that have been registering persistent losses, as well as concerted transparency effort in the utilization of the loans funded by various government entities. Our reporter David Mudoka breaks down the 255.9 billion shillings Kenya IMF loan deal that has been the subject of discussion among Kenyans in recent days.
Following days of social media uproar by a majority of Kenyans online, who want the International Monetary Fund IMF to apply brakes on the disbursement of loans to Kenya owing to a ballooning public debt, IMF has however gone ahead to approve a 255.9 billion shillings loan to Kenya, but with stricter conditions. Unlike previous occasions where loan deals between Kenya and the IMF have been below the radar, the Washington-based multilateral lender has this time round let the cat out of the bag, perhaps as a result of the uproar online outlining the price that Kenya will have to pay for the loan. Already, IMF has channeled an initial 33.7 billion shillings to the Treasury as part of phased disbursement of the total loan amount. An additional 45.3 billion shillings is set to follow by July 2021, while the rest of the amount, which is 176.9 billion shillings, will be disbursed upon review every 6 months. To set this in motion, IMF has not only called on the government to put in place measures to tame rampant fleecing of the public purse, but has also gone the extra mile in identifying the specific leaks. As part of the loan deal, the Kenyan government will be required to initiate regular quarterly reporting on pending bills, covering ministries, departments and agencies, counties, semi-autonomous autonomous government agencies and state corporations. In another push to enhance transparency, IMF will require the Kenyan government to publish the results of an audit of all COVID-19 related expenditures in financial year 2019 and 2020 by end of May 2021. Again, the Kenyan government will be expected to ensure that comprehensive information on public tenders awarded is publicly available on the government procurement information portal, and that bidders are subject to dissuasive sanctions for non-compliance before end of June 2021. While going for the jugular, IMF has also targeted 9 loss-making parastatals, calling on the government to prepare an overhaul strategy for each to stem bleeding in public finances. They include Kenya Airways, Kenya Airports Authority, Kenya Railways Corporation, Kenya Power, Kenya Electricity Generating Company KenGen, Kenya Ports Authority, and 3 public universities. In its bid for the loan, which matures in 38 months, the government had sought the financial package to address COVID-19 response and the reduction of debt vulnerabilities. The new loan, however, comes against the backdrop of a debt crisis in the country that threatens to raise the current 9 trillion shilling debt ceiling even higher. Kenya's debt now stands at 7.25 trillion shillings, comprising of 3.48 trillion domestic debt and 3.77 external debt, after sharply rising from 1.79 trillion shillings in March 2013, barely days to President Uhuru Kenyatta's takeover. The head of state has, however, remained adamant that the public debt is within manageable levels.
I have almost 60% of the Republic of Kenya connected to power. My friend, for those kind of reasons, I will borrow, not to consume, to develop.
Development.
Right. To develop.
But IMF has sounded an alarm, stating that although Kenya's debt remains sustainable, the country is at a high risk of debt distress. David Mudhoka, TV47.
Moving on, the US government has advised its nationals not to travel to Kenya due to COVID-19. The US has also advised its citizens to exercise increased caution in Kenya due to crime, terrorism, health issues, and kidnapping. In a travel advisory dated 7th of April 2021, the U.S. Department of State for Bureau of Consular Affairs advises U.S. nationals not to travel to Kenya, the Kenya-Somalia border, and some coastal areas due to terrorism, and the areas of Turkana County due to crime. The advisory has also urged U.S. nationals to reconsider travel to Nairobi as neighborhood of Eastleigh and Kibera at all due to crime and kidnapping. The advisory further lists Tana River, Lamu, and Kilifi counties as no-go zone due to terrorism concerns. The advisory comes just days after the UK issued a similar advisory citing a surge in COVID-19 infections. The irony, however, is both the United Kingdom and the United States have way more COVID-19 infections and deaths compared to Kenya. Moving on, the recent spate of killings in the country has left many bewildered, especially those involving police officers and members of the disciplined forces. The recent case involving a GSU officer attached to a VIP protection in the office of the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, has left tongues wagging after the officer killed his wife and turned fire on self. Experts in the security sector warn of an increase in these cases of mental health issues if not are addressed. Mwangi Maina now reports.
In a press statement released earlier Wednesday morning by Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutiambai, Police Constable Hudson Wasike, attached to VIP protection at the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, shot and killed his wife before turning the gun on himself, ending both their lives. It is reported that the slain wife, Pauline Wakasa, a traffic police officer based in Kilimani, Nairobi, arrived home and was served supper by her house help when her husband shortly arrived, and the couple started exchanging bitter words where he was accused of infidelity. It is reported that at this point, Constable Hudson Wasike got out of the house briefly, and when he returned, he suddenly drew out his pistol, firing several rounds of ammunition at his wife's chest, killing her instantly, before shooting himself on the chin. 9 spent cartridges were collected from the murder scene. The murder-suicide coming a day after another police constable killed a bar owner in Baringo over a 450 shillings unpaid liquor bill. In light of these events, Baron Adera, a security consultant and ex-Kenya Special Forces officer, says mental health issues, especially in the police service, account for the biggest percentage of these murders. Unfortunately, most of the mental health issues are never realized, and when they are, disaster has already struck.
The whole mountain of mental illness issues, mental health issues revolving around mental health, that potentially are underlying and have not been addressed effectively, and that then come to bear, and present themselves in some of these very rational, happenings that are witnessed amongst the populace, and sadly so within the disciplined forces that are to be treated with enough respect due to the fact that they have added training, so they've been transformed from what we call raw civilian into either military practitioner or a police operative, that are supposed to have a level of discipline that's refined beyond the ken of ordinariness or ordinary people.
Adera further says the COVID-19 pandemic has negatively affected the mental well-being of many Kenyans and has exacerbated many societal ills being reported, including murder and homicides.
Things like the protocols that come with the lockdowns or things like that, people are starting to spend a lot more time together. And as I told someone, rather comically, that people are meeting themselves for the very first time in their lives, because most of the time we spend time together with friends, and we are approaching life within that collectivist approach, and we sweep a lot of issues under the rug. But right now, in your own space, in your own house, you're facing your partner and spending a lot more time with them. So if there are things that you'd possibly laugh away and possibly be arrogant about and leave that space and go off for work or things like that, now you are facing those issues head-on.
In regard to the murder-suicide incident involving Matiang'i's bodyguard, Adera says it might be a tipping point, and lives of many VIPs, including prominent government officials, might be endangered if mental issues are not addressed holistically among members of the uniformed forces.
If this person got a text message, let's say, or a call from home that, we just saw your wife sneak into someone else's house, and so he suspected that there could be an affair that's going on, and they decided to shoot everybody around them and then shoot themselves, we would be staring in the face of serious catastrophe. Calls us to close scrutiny, or to closely scrutinize issues of the selection that goes behind the identification of these kind of men that are charged with this business.
Adera says creating avenues where Kenyans can articulate their issues and open up about issues tormenting them will be a win in the fight against deteriorating mental health. As murder cases in the country continue to spike on a daily basis, experts in the security sector opine that mental health issues have not been paid attention to, especially in the police service. Mwangi Maina, TV 47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mwangi Maina, for that report. You are watching TV 47 News tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Time for us to take a short break. We'll be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned.
As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections.
As the salvos enter too familiar territory,
William Ruto will serve his 5-year term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
They give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power.
Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
we talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
As we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my years.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know that your business keeps our economy running?
You need the skill, not the papers.
Always tell yourselves, one day at a time. You can't do everything under one roof.
Over time, I've had to realize that good things take time.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Before the markets open, farmers begin their day, each with the desire to produce the best. But how can they increase the numbers, maintain the standards,
Aitoi ile garlic inafaa itoi, that standard garlic.
reduce the cost,
We spread our risk.
and yet remain the best? Kilimo Diaries, every Sunday when the clock hits 7:30 p.m. The Home of Untold Stories.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to more news now. And the Council of Governors now wants the Ministry of Health to address the need of ARVs drugs in the counties. The chair of the Council of Governors Health Committee, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, has said that there are counties which have zero number of ARVs. Also, the Council of Governors has said that the delay in disbursement of funds to the counties has affected service delivery, and some sectors are almost grinding to a halt. Josh Onsare now reports.
It has been months of no HIV and AIDS drugs in some hospitals. The health of many HIV patients has been hanging on the balance, hoping against hope that the drugs will finally come. And now then the Council of Governors has waded into the matter. The COG is calling on the Ministry of Health to avail ARVs to the counties to alleviate the suffering of thousands of HIV patients.
There are counties with zero HIV commodities. This is very dangerous. This therefore means that the viral suppression of the people who are taking ARVs is compromised and increases their chances of dying due to HIV-related complications.
COG Chair of Health Committee and Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o also says services in the counties have stalled due to delays in disbursement of county funds. Some counties have not received their monies since December.
The Council of Governors now strongly notifies the National Treasury that this inordinate 4-month delay may lead to other drastic actions since negotiations seem not to be heeded. Council now demands for immediate disbursement of all the outstanding amounts owed to county governments before the 15th of April this year.
As the third wave of COVID-19 continues to affect the health sector, the Council of Governors has said the counties are overwhelmed with the ever-growing number of patients in the ICU.
There are a total of 417 beds in the ICU, out of which 259 beds are available for new patients. So the lockdown countries are a special category because in these lockdown countries, the number of people needing ICU beds has been going up exponentially. But I think the intervention taken should ensure the flattening of that curve in the highly infected counties.
So far, 5 counties have intervened in cushioning various businesses by lifting tax levies in keeping with the rising cost of living occasioned by the pandemic.
County governments have embarked on implementation of the strategy, which aims at supporting key sectors as well as creating innovative interventions that seek to address the varied implications of COVID-19 to the economy. So far, 5 counties, namely Nakuru, Embu, Lamu, Machakos, and Nyeri, have rolled out interventions which have multiplier effects on productivity and employment creation.
This being the second year since COVID-19 was reported in the country, the Council of Governors is calling on the national government through the Ministry of Health to release ARVs to the counties for the HIV and AIDS patients to get treatment. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Kabarnet High Court has ordered the exhumation of a body that was buried at Koroto Day Secondary School a fortnight ago. The family of the deceased and the school have been having a land dispute ownership.
In her ruling, Kabarnet resident magistrate Vivian Amboko explained that the family had knowledge of the existing land dispute and should have waited for a resolution before interring the deceased.
Though the respondent claimed that their clan buried their dead at night, I doubt how genuine they are. The respondents were aware of the pending dispute. To avoid confrontation with the school's authorities, they opted for night burial. This is not right. The remains of the deceased in a school compound remain a nuisance as put by the public health officer. It is not relevant whether they are on the primary section or the secondary section of the school. It remains a nuisance and must be removed.
Speaking after the ruling, the school's lawyer Javan Kipekwe said justice has been served.
And I am happy to say that our application was successful. The school has been given orders to comply with the directive by the public health officer that the body be removed and be taken to an alternative suitable place, either to be provided by the family of the deceased, or if the family is not willing to provide an alternative place, then the body has been directed that it be buried in a public cemetery.
However, the family spokesperson Edna Chebon expressed dissatisfaction with the court ruling.
Na katika hiyo shamba ya babu yetu, si huyo peke yake amesikwa hapo. Kuna miili zingine 3. Pamoja na mzee mmoja anaitwa Chesire ambaye ni kijana ya mzee huyu Kombo mwenye shamba. So kulingana na hii ruling ya leo, ninaona ya kwamba tutafanyiwa haki. Kwa maana tulikuwa na tarajia tufanyiwe haki. Lakini kama wameamua kwenda kutoa mwili, sisi kama jamii tuna uzito sana. Hata watoto yake hatujui tutawaambia nini.
The deceased Paul Kipchabas, who died on the 23rd last month and buried 3 days later at night, and his grave cemented left Koroto village in shock. Daniel Masiza, TV47.
Moving on, tension is high in Kandara, Muranga County after the body of a 56-year-old man was found killed and buried with cow dung. Confirming the incident, Kandara OCPD Catherine Ringera said whoever is found culpable will face the law. Andrin Kilemi with the details.
A spectacle in Kandara, Muranga County, albeit a tragic one. What makes this case even more atrocious is the story behind the hole in which the man was buried in. The deceased had dug the hole with an intention of planting a banana stem, but instead he was buried and covered with cow dung.
Nilikuwa naangalia huko wote, nikakuja nikaona hii mjibi hapa, nikaambia kijana kuja waangalie kama ndio huyu. Kijana akakuja akafanya hivyo, akaniambia ndio huyu. Sasa nikamwambia, nikapiga nduru na nikaanguka hapo. Sasa nikamwambia pigia sister yangu arudi ndio akuja aone ile huko.
According to the family of the deceased, the main suspect in the murder is a shamba boy who is said to have disappeared from home since Tuesday. Not much is known about the boy, but those that know him say he was from the neighboring country of Uganda and never quarreled with anyone since he began working at the farm.
Atakayepatikana ni yeye mwenye kufanya hii kitendo, mimi kwa kuomba aletwe tu kidogo tumuone. Hakuna kitu tutamfanya, tumuone tu.
Kijana mwenye alimua alikuwa mfanyikazi, alikuwa ameajiriwa kuchunga ng'ombe. Sasa yenye nimekuja nikaambiwa simu ya Nko imepatikana huko kwa kijana, nyumba yenye kijana alikuwa analala. Ilikuwa hapo juu ya meza. Hajatoa kitu, zote pesa ziko, kila kitu iko.
Confirming the incident, Kandara OCPD Catherine Ringera said investigations are underway. The body of the deceased was moved to General Cargo Mortuary in Thika. Andrin Kilemi, TV47.
Well, such a tragic incident there. Thank you, Andrin Kilemi, for that. Keep talking to us. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Time for us to take another short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more.
You are watching TV47, the home of Untold Stories. As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections.
As the salvos enter too familiar territory.
William Ruto will serve his 5-year term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
Give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power.
Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
We talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
that part so that I don't
we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my youth.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know that your business keeps our economy running?
You need the skill, not the papers.
Always tell yourselves, one day at a time. You can't do everything under one roof.
Over time, I've had to realize that good things take time.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Before the markets open, farmers begin their day, each with the desire to produce the best. But how can they increase the numbers, maintain the standards,
Aitoi ile garlic inafaa itoi, that standard garlic.
reduce the cost?
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight. Now, a 4-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl have died in a house inferno at Gakuyu village of Kahumbuini ward in Gikumo constituency of Murang'a County. The kids had been left unattended in the house when they allegedly took a matchbox to light the gas, causing a frenzy fire that led to their demise. The owner of the house, Mercy Wamboi, says she had left the children to go shopping and was called impromptu on her way back to only find the house on fire.
Hii ni boma yangu ilichomeka. Nilienda kwa duka kununua chakula. Nikifika huko nikapigiwa simu, nikaambiwa boma yangu ilipata moto. Nilikuja na nikapata watu huku walikuwa wanasaidia kusima moto, lakini kulikuwa na watoto wawili nyumba. Mmoja alipelekwa hosi, hakufika hosi. Huyo mwingine alichomeka, akakufa huko.
Hata mimi mwenyewe ndiye nimpigia simu nikamwambia rudi haraka kwake kuna kuchomeka. Kufika akapata watu wakijaribu kwa hiyo moto. Hata mtoto wangu pia alikuwa hapa. Ni dakika tu, hata dakika moja tu nikakuja nikamchukua nimpe uji. Kumaliza hata hajamaliza uji ndio nikasikia sauti kuna moto, kuna moto.
Kama county government tuliongea na governor tukasema huyu mzazi ama hii familia tutawasaidia kujenga hii nyumba yao upya. Alafu tena hao watoto ambao waliaga jana tutawasaidia kuwazika. Kwa sababu ile sheria iko saa hii ya COVID-19 ni kwamba mtu akifariki ama akiaga before 72 hours ziishe akuwe amezikwa. Saa ile kiberiti ya kuwasha moto, mzazi hakikishe ukitoka kwa nyumba kama uko na hiyo gas na hakuna mahali safe ya kuweka hiyo mtungi ya gas, uhakikishe umebeba kiberiti na umeenda nayo aidha kwa shamba ama unaenda nayo kwa soko, bebe hiyo kiberiti kwa sababu ataitumia kupasha chakula moto wakati hauko.
Quite a sad incident there. Elsewhere, now just how safe is the meat on your plate? Well, samples obtained from pork and chicken meat in supermarkets in the country have been found to have a significant bacterial contamination that have a potential to cause diseases in humans. The highest contamination was found in own brand managed by the supermarkets. This is according to a study that was done in 2020 by the World Animal Protection.
Top 6 supermarkets in the country were targeted in the survey that sought to find out if the meat sold from the country's largest retailers was safe. The samples obtained from pork and chicken were collected between April and May 2020, and they were taken for an analysis at the Center for Microbiology Research at Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI.
184 pork samples, which is about 94% of the samples, we were able to isolate bacteria. And in 199 chicken samples, which is about 97% of the samples, we were again able to isolate bacteria. And a total of 611 bacterial isolates were identified, 311 from chicken samples, which account for about 51%, and 300 from pork samples, which account for about 49%.
Among the bacteria found in the meat samples are Salmonella and Shigella, which have a potential of causing diseases to humans.
And the presence of Salmonella and Shigella in the food chain is concerning, as there is likelihood to have that is most likely coming from an animal origin, and then there's possibility of cross-contamination throughout the value chain. And remember that Salmonella and Shigella will actually cause disease in human population, especially, as I said earlier on, amongst the older population or those who are having immune suppressions or the younger children.
The samples collected were from supermarket branches in Nairobi, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Kisumu, Nyeri and Laikipia counties. The researchers took into consideration status of sample, that is whether they were fresh or frozen, packaging method, storage temperature, and use of PPEs by meat attendants.
In terms of contamination, can it be killed with cooking? I think for us, one of the things in the African setting is that we cook our meat relatively well. We either roast it or choma it. We are not like our colleagues in the developed world who eat meat relatively rare. I think that helps to manage some of these things, because a lot of these bacteria, when you boil the meat properly, or you roast it properly, you tend to kill a lot of those contaminants.
Well, 29 directors from tea factories in Nyeri County now say that Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya was misled by activists allied to the Kenya Union of Small-Scale Tea Owners to initiate reforms in the sector through the back door. Their sentiments have been supported by their counterparts from Kiambu County.
At least 29 directors from tea factories in Nyeri County have accused Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture Peter Munya of being misled by activists allied to the Kenya Union of Small-Scale Tea Owners to initiate reforms in the sector through the back door. Addressing a press conference at Gotv Tea Factory, the director said that reforms being initiated by Munya, especially calling for elections, are the brainchild of the union officials who want to take over leadership of the factories.
If it is changing the law, there are systems. And these systems should be adopted by every farmer so that we can go together. Not just as the directors, but we move together as the farmers of a particular area, factory.
Agriculture CS Peter Munya ordered that elections on new directors be held on April 10th in all factories within the region under the new tea reforms. However, the directors moved to court in their effort to stop the polls, with the case still ongoing. The directors opined that if the scheduled elections go on as per ministry directive, the tea industry would collapse due to lack of full involvement of farmers.
So we are not opposed, but we insist that we should start from the actual tea grower.
In Kiambu, KTDA directors says that company laws on elections have not been followed, hence opposed to the planned elections in the region.
We want to clearly say that we as leaders of the small-scale tea sector in Kiambu County, we are not aware of those elections. Elections are held in a specific manner in accordance with the Companies Act, in accordance with our memos and articles.
We are not opposed to reforms. In principle, we agree to create development in tea industry. But this must be done in an organized manner involving consultation to establish facts and guidelines along which any reforms may be based.
The directors warn that the ongoing leadership wrangles in tea management will cripple the industry.
We have seen the direction that coffee went, the direction that sugarcane went, the direction that maize went, the direction many other crops have gone. We do not want tea to go that direction, and as leaders, we want to be at the forefront of protecting this business. And
dismantling KTDA is not a solution.
We as the factory directors represented here are shareholders. Categorically state that we are legitimately in office and we will always defend the tea factories from attempts to take them down the road to destruction.
Moving on, a 25-year-old man in Ingavira village in Malava, Kakamega County is nursing injuries at a missionary hospital after unknown individuals who claimed his father owed them money cut his leg. The attackers pounced on the victim at the wee hours of the night. The family is now making plans to bury the foot pending investigations into the attack.
ya kukata mara moja ingekuwa ilikatwa kama wenye unakata nyama.
Kijana ameathirika, angali kwa hali mbaya, ako theater.
Kaniambia kuna jamaa amekuja hapa anasema amemaliza kazi yake, umlipe deni yake. Nikasutuka nikasema mtu nani mwenye nimetuma kufanya kazi? Sijatuma mtu kufanya kazi kwa poma langu.
Well, we wish the 25-year-old man a quick recovery. It's time for us to get to the world of sports now. Let's bring in Dennis Otieno. Dennis.
Yes, Abubakar. Now, tonight, we have a lot that is lined up for you. We shall be telling you about the results registered in the UEFA Champions League and what to expect in the same competition when it gets underway in a few minutes from now, pretty much. Now, also, we'll be giving you some action in the basketball world, that is the NBA. Now, this and more coming up in just a bit. A very warm welcome to Primetime Sports. My name is Dennis Otieno. Now let's begin with some rather sad news in sports. Athletics legend Thomas Saisi was Wednesday afternoon laid to rest at his home in Kapenguria Town, West Pokot County. Saisi, who passed away on Thursday last week in Kapenguria Hospital, is said to have been diagnosed with gout. Saisi died aged 75 and had participated in the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico, where he won 800 yards bronze medal. He also competed in the 1972 Munich Olympics, where he won gold in the relay race, registering a best time of 1 minute and 46.3 seconds. Mourners, led by former athlete Moses Kiptanui, while speaking during the burial ceremony,